Joining me live on the line now from Sydney is Antony Loewenstein. He's a Middle East affairs analyst, and it's great to have you on, Antony. So there's going to be a meeting at the White House to look at what post-war Gaza will look like. We've had some insights because Donald Trump posted an AI-produced video with a golden statue of himself. He said he sees it being the Riviera of the Middle East. I'm just wondering where Palestinians fit into this post-war Gaza. What's your opinion?
Well, they don't, do they, apparently, according to the US administration or even, frankly, Israel, where the official position remains to forcibly remove Palestinians out of Gaza and move all of them to the south before they are sent to God knows where, Libya, Ethiopia, South Sudan was recently discussed. And I think one of the outrageous points about this meeting, which clearly was organised in the space of 5 minutes, which is sort of pretty much a Trump administration speciality without any kind of real thought, is actual Palestinian groups engaged in Palestine involved beyond the Israeli idea and the American plan, which remains mass ethnic cleansing. It's not like it's even hidden. I mean, in some conflicts, the actual real agenda of genocidaires is couched in sort of certain kinds of language, or it's hidden, or in this case, it's said explicitly by successive Israeli ministers and governments. I mean, just a week or so ago, Netanyahu was giving an interview to an Israeli media outlet, and he was asked whether he supported the idea of Greater Israel. Now, if viewers don't know what that means, let me briefly explain, because I think it goes to the heart of what we're dealing with here. Greater Israel essentially is the belief, which has been around for a long time and is now quite mainstream in Israel, that Israel, the Jewish state, has the right to essentially occupy and settle vast parts of the Middle East, Lebanon, parts of Syria, Iraq, obviously Palestine, many other countries, Egypt, Jordan. Now, you would think, hearing that sounds delusional. How could that ever happen? And yet the only response from most of the Arab countries in the region was to issue a strongly worded statement, because the reality is those Arab states are still working and trading with Israel. So this is the kind of situation we're dealing with, where you have massive Arab elite complicity, and much of the world, including Palestinians, see that complicity for what it is.
I think one of the key things for everyone watching, just to remind everyone, is that whilst we talk about the US as being almost like a mediator here, I mean, they're not really, are they? They are clearly in the corner of Israel. They support them financially with weapons. And so their vision, Israel and the US, of what Gaza should look like post-war, I mean, the Palestinians would have a very different vision, wouldn't they?
To put it mildly, I mean, there was a comment years ago by a pro-Israel lobbyist that essentially said that the US's role in these so-called negotiations, this is long before October 7, but it's just as relevant now, America is essentially Israel's lawyer. It takes its side, and this has been the case for decades, whether you have a Democrat in the White House or a Republican. I mean, people obviously are understandably concerned by the Trump administration, but let's be clear, the vast bulk of this genocide since October 7 happened under a Democrat. The Biden administration, the vast bulk. Now, Trump clearly has continued it and deepened it, and more weapons have been flowing. But the vast bulk of it was happening during Biden. So the so-called vision of what Gaza should look like after the cessation of the war is incredibly unclear. Palestinians have their view. There's no one united position. There's many opinions, and they should be heard and listened to and discussed. I mean, the idea, for example, that is put forward by many Western states is that Gaza, or Palestine itself as a state, should be demilitarized, and you have sort of Arab armies monitoring or patrolling the streets. Now, is that something that Palestinians would accept? I cannot think of a state that has been established in the last decades, the most recent states would be East Timor or South Sudan, that did not have its own army. It did not have its own military force. I mean, it's an absurd proposition that makes it almost by definition a complicit state with Israel, which of course would border this imaginary Palestinian state. So without Palestinian buy-in, without their thoughts, without their ideas and vision, this is yet another case of Western colonial thought of imposing a so-called solution, which is what the West has been doing in the Middle East for well over 100 years.
Antony, thank you for your time. My guest, Antony Loewenstein, Middle East affairs analyst.